sent out my message here. It's not going out. All right. Maybe it's the internet cycling around. Hopefully you can see me on the other end there. There we go. Yeah, must have been the internet cycling around. It's busy out there with lots of tourists and everything. We're still at high tourist season right now. So grab yourself a cup of tea or some water and have a sip and let's get started. So summer we're soon coming to a close here. So this change of season, I'm feeling it already. It feels early. It feels like September here. So hope the weather is good wherever you are. So take a moment to just notice again that, as we always do, notice the space around you. Notice the physical space. So first, just notice the physical objects around you. And notice their proximity to you. And hey, Marlou, good to see you. And as you notice the objects in your space, notice the distance between you and the objects. Just take a moment first to settle into that. And kind of look around. Don't look in just in one direction. Look in different directions too. And then see if you can sense the space between. So there's you and Joni. Hi, Joni. And if you're on YouTube, I see the people. Marianne, yeah, it's nice to see you. It's been a while. Glad to see the. If you're on YouTube, just if you want to say hi, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. So notice the object. Notice your physical body. Become aware of any part of your physical body. And you can even touch yourself. So I think it's really good for people who are empathic, especially, to just feel their body, also touch their body, to really anchor that in, because empaths have a tendency to be further out than their physical body. Not just empaths, but in generally speaking. And as I was saying, so come into your body, notice that distance, and then kind of put your awareness on between you and between the object. So kind of feeling the space that everything is sitting in. And see if you can just kind of in your mind, if you want to throw it out on the comments, that's fine too. Just kind of adjectives to describe, what does that space feel like to you? I'm going to adjust this a little bit. There we go. What does that feel like? How would you describe it? Like, you're in your space, I'm over here. How would you describe that to me? What are adjectives that you would use to describe that space? Is it dense? Is it light? Do you have a sense of movement? Is it still? Is it quiet? Is it agitated? It can be all those things, right? I think it's bringing up for some people, it's bringing up some clarity as to, oh, wait, I'm kind of noticing where they're at. So having a little bit more precise separation from the space around and self. Hi, Asta. Good to see you. So notice that space and then notice your body. Notice that outline of your body. And when you come into your body, it helps you to separate out from everything else that's around you, physical and non-physical. Okay, the physical seems obvious, but I was remember I was talking to somebody that that I met here and kind of teaching her how to do this, and she could not pull herself back from physical objects. And I'm talking about chair, furniture. You know, it's like she could just not pull herself back. It was incredibly hard for her to do. So really, again, that body is hopefully, hopefully you're not hearing the bells too strongly. They're ringing like crazy right now. Um, Feeling, you know, so touch your body if you know, and it's just good to do that, to just feel your body, anchor that in. This is your house. It's sort of like, this is your house, this is where you live. And when you extend beyond that, you're stepping outside of your house, and so you're opening yourself to whatever is out there. Yeah. And when you get really clear about, okay, coming in here, pulling in, so it feels like you're looking out your eyes, you're looking through windows or through, you know, little holes of kind of whatever, but looking out from the world, and you really feel that you're in here. Then you start to notice everything physical and non-physical around you. So you might not pick up non-physical stuff, but you might all of a sudden make that difference for yourself between, it's like, oh, I was feeling like, you know, whatever, whacked out. I was feeling unhappy. And now that I'm pulled in, it's like, well, I don't feel unhappy in here, but I can feel this around me, or I can feel, you know, there's whatever it is, you know. Or you might also, all of a sudden, it's like you feel some kind of energy movement. It's like, oh, okay, I'm feeling this over here, but it's like, it's going right over my head. It's like, okay, that's interesting. So from that boundary of your space, your house, your however you want to define it, of skin level, coming into that core center alignment for yourself. So let's pull it in even more strongly, because when you notice something like that, you know, any of the above and whatever else you might be noticing. Hey, Sydney, just noticed you popped up. Pull in even more. So you notice that, especially if you're noticing that there's something moving around you. So not necessarily motions, but you might see a form, you might feel a form, you might feel a face, you might, whatever, you know, it can come up in a lot of different ways. It kind of depends on how that information gets translated through your system, and how you, that information is shows up for you. Pull even more strongly into that core alignment for yourself. You know, and so one of the things you can do to do that is just focus, like centering yourself. Yeah, you guys are all doing really well, but it's always nice to get that reinforcement that you're doing it. You can imagine like a channel of light right through the center of your head, down the center of your body. If you have a hard time having a sense, that just kind of visualize a straight line in your mind. It's like, okay, this is it. You can also feel your spine, you know, kind of put your awareness on your spine. If you need something more physical to anchor yourself into. Oh, yeah, very good. Yeah, and that's actually notice how that shifts because what I'm seeing happening for some people is that it's all of a sudden there was kind of, a little bit of uh, entanglement, let's put it that way, but um, just not very clear, maybe not focused, or just kind of like a little fuzzy. And when you pull in even more strongly, just that clarity coming through, and with that clarity, it's like you're lighting up like a light bulb, because that brilliance, that you're coming deeper into that alignment of you, and so that's really lighting you up. And really allow yourself to feel that and just keep focusing on that center alignment. Oh, yeah, and just notice what that feels like as you stay centered on, focused and centered on that being alignment, in that alignment, dropping everybody, anchoring everybody into the core here. Ah, and you guys are doing really good today. Some days it's a little rougher than other days. That's fine. That happens. And coming into that core, that earth. Bringing in those whales. I'm seeing those whales float around. That's cute. They're looking a little bit like Disney whales, cartoon whales, but that's okay. Just the essence of playfulness coming through. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Just allowing yourself to relax into this. Sometimes it feels like it would be nice to be here 24/7. It's always nice to find that space, and sometimes we can feel like yeah, it feels pretty good. I feel like I'm there, and then when we do something like this, it's like, whoa, okay, yeah, now we're really in there. So everybody's really in that. It's a really nice space here today. And as we sit in here, so just giving you guys some practice with this, because it's easier when you're doing it in a group, because it's magnified. The perception gets magnified for everybody, so it's a little easier. But notice what the space feels like, you know. And one of the reasons for doing this, it's like, okay, well, I get this. It's not just about getting this, it's also about helping your system to register that more strongly into your nervous system, into your brain, into that reception, into, I'm not finding my words very well today, um, into that neurological information, in brain. It's like it's registering your brain. When you focus on something, it registers more deeply. And so that helps to anchor that more deeply into yourself, into your being, into your and down to the physical level, so that when you are by yourself, you have that reference internal to you. Because it's fun doing this with people. It's great, and it's really helpful to do that. And then being able to take that away so that when you are on your own, you can come back to this more easily. Yeah. Excuse me. So again, just adjectives. How do you describe this space? Light, bright, easeful, relaxed. I'm just throwing words out there, as examples. There could be a sense of density. There could be a sense of flow. You might be seeing, actually seeing things around you. You might see sparkling kind of effect. You might see color. So just notice all of that for you, because we're in a really, really nice space here right now. And just to have that reference of the spaces of deeper alignment. Again, what's that's like. Now, one word of caution, though, is that you can't go looking for, okay, I've got to make this. Let's see, if I make this space, if I get, kind of reproduce it from here, from the human self. If you go looking for that, you're going to get taken off on a side thing. You're not going to be able to find it. Or what's going to happen, also another possibility with that, is that you create an artificial space. You're not actually tapping into that space. You're just creating this artificial space around you. That's interesting that that's coming up, because I was tuning into, it came out this morning for my next new moon event, which is on September 3rd, I think. And this whole piece around creating this artificial space, and you think you're tapping into something, but it's creating more distortion, actually. And it's actually, so it's kind of creating a container, and it's keeping you from actually being in the space that you want to be, So again, it's like, well, what do you do about that? So the best thing to do is relax in, connect in. So connect into the breath, and just kind of really bring your awareness to the breath. Get the mind active on focusing on something. Focusing on the body, and if you need to, you can say, okay, focusing on the earlobes, focusing on beneath the chin, the tip of the chin, the collarbones, the neck muscles, name parts to help this part, this little mental part up here that is the one that starts running around all over the place. That part, keep it occupied. It's like a little 5-year-old or even 2-year-old. Keep it occupied. Just keep it busy with stuff. It's like, okay, let's focus on there. And you get it goes off somewhere. It's like, oh, okay, you see, like I see parents at the beach. It's like the little kid has dropped. It's picking up a stone, is about to put it in his mouth, and the mom's just like, no, let's not put that in our mouth. And then the kid is like, so you got to sidetrack them over here. Oh, look over here, what we've got over there. So same thing with the mental part, the mental action. Kind of hesitate on saying the mind, but it's that human level mind, because there's also the deeper cosmic mind kind of thing that we can tap into. When that other mind, that monkey mind is the 2-year-old mind is really paying attention to that little rock it picked up there. So focusing on the breath. Let's come into the breath now. Yeah. And when you focus on the breath, that comes into your chest, it brings you into your chest, and just feeling that movement of the chest. Is your chest expanding in all directions? Because that's really how it functions. It might not. We say, oh, well, that kind of is obvious that that's what it's going to be doing, but not necessarily. If you've got tension in the back, or even in the front, or on one side or the other, it's very likely that you might be noticing that's like, oh no, it's going out more in one direction. I can feel myself more in the front, or whatever. So if you notice that, bring your awareness to, okay, let's move into that other area where it's not moving, and expanding in all directions. It's like a balloon expanding in all directions. When you blow up a balloon, it's not just going in one direction unless you're pressing on it against something, then it will. But even when you do that, the balloon is still going to be the whole balloon is going to be expanding out. So yeah. And just imagine it's like all your ribs just expanding out away from each other and out to this, in opening up as you breathe in, and then just let go. Breathing is that simple. You just let go. You don't need to do anything, and the breath goes out by itself. You don't have to consciously do that. So it's sort of this piece. So this is how to learn to let go. Notice your breath and just let it out. Letting go. And if you can't let go of your breath, if you might feel some tensions somewhere in your chest, maybe on the side. Typical area of tension is like neck and upper chest, because there's holding in there. Holding usually comes out of fright, fear, out of running away, and it can be really old. You might have inherited that from family too, being in that state of fear. So being gentle with that part, if you notice that tightness in an area, being gentle with this, it's like, okay, we can relax now, and if it's too scary to be relaxed all the time, it's like, that's okay. Let's just relax for this moment, just for this moment, just for now. We could go back to being tight later, that's fine, but just for now, let's just relax. Let's see if we can just get a sense of that. Yeah, there we go. And it says, Marlou, I can feel like you're already there. And you were there earlier too. So you're kind of leading the group in a way. So that's fun. You're getting ahead of the group, but in a good way. Just so there's the breath. So notice the breath. Notice the in breath and the out breath. And then below the breath, notice your heartbeat. This is nothing new. We do this a bit. So you might notice the breath, the in and out, and there's two levels. So that's kind of one level. And then inside of that, it's like there's the boom, 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 boom happening also. Letting yourself relax into that. And feeling, letting yourself feel into that. So you relax more deeply in that deeper level of feeling, being present with yourself. It's that relaxation that kind of comes through. Really coming into just with your mind, just aware of that breathing pattern and that rhythm of the heart. And feeling yourself just relaxing, melting. And coming into even more brilliance, more of the brilliance of you. It's like coming to a spring after a really long walk, maybe even a walk through the desert for some people for days and days and days. And after a long walk, you get to the spring and the cool water, and it tastes good and it's refreshing. That's the feeling. That's that coming in, quieting everything down, connecting in with yourself, and connecting to that. I like to call it spirit source essence. Sometimes I just say spirit. Some people will call it the higher self, so whatever. I call it spirit source essence because it's your spirit. It's that piece of source, essence of source that is you. And peace, that's not the right word because it feels like we're digging a piece of pie or something, but we're not. Oh, we're really, really coming into this here right now. Aligning this for everybody. Very nice. So allowing yourself to really breathe into this, to really feel it. Feel it by noticing how your body feels. And you might be noticing some areas of tightness and tension or whatever. That's actually normal, because that's what's happening is it's you're in this space that's nice and clean, and then you start noticing all the little pieces that need to be cleaned up. I was trying to think of an analogy. I don't know if this is going to make sense, but the analogy that was kind of coming to mind, I'm like, okay. It's like you have an ice cube, and it's not just water. It's like something frozen, some frozen substance, and there's little bits and pieces in there, but you can't see them when it's just that ice cube, when it's all frozen. But as it melts, all of a sudden you see it's like, oh, well, there's a little piece. I'm thinking like chicken broth. Sometimes you've got those little pieces that are not pure broth, and when it thaws out, you see them, you notice it's like, oh, wait, there's this, there's that. So I don't know if that if that analogy makes sense or not, but okay. And there's I'm going to say that there's somebody here that's just actually not in the space, that you're actually watching from outside, because you're not really daring to step into the space. That's okay. So if you need to just stand outside, that's fine. That's good. We can take your time. You don't have to come in. It's not my doing. It's your spirit's doing. So I provide the space, and then your spirit decides if it's ready or not. And maybe you're not ready, so that's all right. But even just kind of watching at the sidelines starts to activate more deeply for you. Starts to open that door. We all have our own timing, and it's really important to honor that and respect that as best as we can. And inadvertently might get like, come on, let's go. Inadvertently might get, with that enthusiasm, might kind of feel a little abrupt. Sometimes like, no, I'm not. I got to catch my breath. That's fine. But ultimately, it's like me. It's like, okay, well, just take your time. Yeah, a lot of gentle. There's like this. I guess best word I would use is gentleness softness to this space. Yeah, very nice. There's always people who are ahead of us and people who are behind us, so um, it's so easy for us to get in this place of judging ourselves. It's like, well, gosh, this is where I want to be and I'm not, even having that in our minds. And then we're saying to ourselves, it's like, no, I'm here. When inside we really know it's like, I'm not there. And I'm so frustrated about not being here at that higher level, at that more cohesive, coherent level, at their whatever, however you want to describe that for yourself, however that feels for yourself. And it's not so it's I've been there, I get real frustrated. It's like you want to be in a better place, basically, is what that means. Is you can be in a better place and you're not there yet. You're not as in that level of coherence that you could be at, um, and it's good to remember that this is not like an end point. We don't go to it's we're at point A and then there's point B and then that's it. And everybody is doing the same thing. It's like, no, there's point A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's previous to point A. We could use numbers. So there's ground 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. to infinity. But there's also before that. There's -1, -2, -3. And sometimes we start in those minus numbers. Any step you take forward is valid. Might not be as big of a step as we want to take, but that's okay. It's valid. Your system knows. So, coming back to what I said earlier, you just let go. So, you take that big breath in, hold it at the top, and then to exhale, you just let go. So, when you start thinking about it, it's like, well, okay, how do I let go of the breath? You just let go of the breath. So it's one of those things when you start thinking about it that you can't figure out how you're doing it, right? So just be aware of your breathing on its own and just notice the breath going in and out of your body on its own. And notice that exhale. Notice how that exhale just happens. You're not squeezing any muscles. You don't need to squeeze any muscles. The contraction actually happens on the inhale when the diaphragm contracts and makes room for the lungs for the air to come in. And then the air going out. So pay attention to that exhale just on your own, everyday life. Just once in a while as you're doing dishes or cooking or something or walking around, take some time to just notice the breath and just get that feeling of just that letting go, because that's a really hard piece to get, actually, because we can get so caught up with in here. How do I do that? And I'll give you an example from an experience I had a long time ago. Gosh, it was kind of this outward bound course out in nature, and you've got all these kind of um, I don't know what they're called, but these little exercises that we had to do. Like there's these strings that attached around different trees, and we had to close our eyes and just follow the string. And then we were in groups, and then we had to communicate a different way each time when you got to an intersection with another, of which string to go to, which string was the one to get to. So kind of obstacle course kind of things. And one of them was is this a swing that's really high up in a tree, and you're strapped in, and then you're on a platform, and then you just kind of go off this platform, and it's just a swing. You're just swinging back and forth, kind of thing. But then you're supposed to just let go and kind of float. So you're attached from you've got this harness around your torso, and it's attached in front, and so you could just be just hooked up in front, and you could just be like, you know, arms and legs out. And I'm sitting here holding on to the rope that's attached to the where I'm swinging from, and everybody's going, Marianne, let go, Marianne, let go. I'm like, how am I holding on? Like I couldn't figure out how I was holding on, what I was holding on, what I had to do to let go. What was I letting go of? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm holding on to the rope, and then letting go and finally relaxing out. So letting go is not easy because this piece up there, because this piece is trying to figure it out. So it's letting go, surrendering. It's the same thing. So coming into that breath is one of the things, just focusing on your breath and not making your breath anything, just becoming aware of your body breathing, that expansion breathing, following it down the spine, the whole spine, the movement of the torso with the breath to help this part up here let go of whatever it's holding on to. Bring it into the moment. Bring it into that stone that it's just picked up from the beach. So look at that stone. Come into this moment. Yeah. Coming into this moment, into the now. Noticing that sunset. The colors, the way the clouds are in the sky, how the shape is of the cloud, the different layers of the clouds maybe, the wave on the beach, how's it coming in on the beach? Noticing your body, the outline of your body. And as you become aware of that outline of your body, just becoming aware of whatever else you notice. That space that you're in. A deeper space. There's that physical level space that you might be paying attention to. And then that space that's infiltrating everything. I'm happy you made it. Look for the live wisdom happy. Sorry you got in the wrong one, but it's all right. Maybe that's why you had the impression that you were somebody was looking in. Maybe that was you. That was interesting because earlier I said there's a sense of somebody that was outside the space kind of looking in. Oh. Yeah. So not quite in the space, but kind of connecting to the space. I think that was you. It must have been you. That was funny. So again, yeah, noticing, coming into that really quiet space where you're really aware of yourself, aware of your body, aware of the space that you're in, wherever it is. So it's easier to do it in nature, because nature kind of supports you being in that place. But even if you're walking around town or something, or on the beach, or I say on the beach because that's what's it most quickly available to me here for nature. I'm coming back into noticing the quality of the space. Let yourself become more and more aware of that. So the trick is to become aware of your body, so it doesn't have to be your whole body. It can be just a part of your body, like really kind of all of a sudden paying attention to an earlobe. And as you kind of pay attention to that earlobe or the chin or the tip of your nose or that back or the shoulders, whatever it is, also having that awareness of what surrounds you. And if there's anything you don't want to connect that surrounds you, pull into your body more. You might need to go and say, no, out of here, kind of thing. You might need to get into making yourself not pay attention to that other thing that you don't want to be connected to and pay attention to something physical and keep coming back to that. Maybe opening your eyes if that's happening to you when your eyes are closed. Yeah, very nice. Very nice space today. Let yourself again connect in and connect. Be aware of the space that you've been in here. And wisdom happy, kind of with us, and then kind of kind of on the side there, but yeah, that's okay. You were kind of popping up there, so for whatever reason. Very good, very nice. All right. And, as we talk, still being in that, remaining in that space. So just because we start talking and start doing other things doesn't mean that we have to jump out of it. It's always there. And so sometimes it's a question of being able to kind of get into that, I want to say everyday interaction level kind of thing, and also keeping that awareness of this other space. So coming down into your body for that, it's almost like kind of getting into your chest space, you could say, but even your whole body, and just feeling like you're talking from there instead of talking from your head. Coming from that alignment. People will respond differently to you when you do that. Because usually when we come into our heads, we're also kind of like energetically reaching out to other people. And that might not have a good reaction from that with that. Of course, I was going to say, then they can also kind of get nervous because you're so centered and calm that they're like, something's wrong, because there's programming, maybe childhood programming or something that's coming up in the person that's making them nervous with that. But that's not nervous from you. It's nervous from something else, training that they got around something with a similar flavor. Very nice. Very good, guys. So, yeah, so it's coming up just because it popped up this morning. The new moon is on September 3rd, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, on Tuesday. So we're going to do it at 8 p.m. Central European time. And this one will be about the dark, coming into balance for ourselves with the dark. And so there's been a lot of talk about shadow work, but this is different. uh, yeah, this is a different piece. This is shadow work. It tends to get into something a little a bit different than what we are doing here with these new moons, because these new moons are about really coming into um, deeper. It's a rectification. A lot of what's happening right now with different programs, like what I do, what a lot of people are doing there, might seem like, oh yeah, we've done this before, da 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 da. But what's happening now is that there's this big rectification that's happening in all these different ways through all everybody who's doing this kind of work, and you know, in whatever ways they're doing it, to restore existence to its proper setting, to its pure setting, because there's just been so much distortion on top of distortion on top of distortion on top of distortion, and it's like, okay, time to stop. So that's a little bit about the new moon in the dark, but also just what's happening in general here. So to understand that piece, bringing it back to its proper order and moving into higher state, kind of thing. All right. Well, if somebody has any comments they want to make, and glad you made it, Wisdom Happy, and were able to find your way into the room with us. If not, we'll just call it a day and back next week as always. And we'll see you next week. We'll see you in the ethers, wherever we connect in the ethers. Yeah, thanks from Asta, thanks from Marlu. Yeah, thank you guys for showing up. That's always good. It's good to see people pop in once in a while. Haven't seen them for a while, so it's fun. It's fun to see them show up in here. People come regularly too. So, all right. So we'll call it a day. And thank you all for being here and for your part in this space. I swear the little icon in the screen with your picture also said live. Oh, that's funny. I have no idea. Oh, and I'm going to just flash my QR code for anybody who wants to feels like making a donation. There's the QR code on YouTube and Instagram. You just follow the link in the bio. Yeah, that's kind of funny. But maybe you just needed to, I don't know what the little icon is, so I'm not sure. Sorry about that. Anyway, so take care, everybody, and we'll see you next time, wherever, here or in the ethers, and have a good rest of the week.